We are a company called Walnut Knowledge Solutions, which conducts a very special program called the Q-Shala program for the kids, where we use the curiosity among children to help build 21st century skills for them. So we've piqued curiosity in about 80,000 children until now. And to do this, we partnered with 80 plus schools, and we've designed and delivered 500 plus curiosity events for schools, may it be in the form of a Q-Shala program, quizzes, or any other kinds of engagements. And through our online programs, we've already engaged about 2,000 plus students and parents online. So that's who we are. We're also very proud to tell that our curiosity has taken us places, and one such place is Antarctica here. We are the only company which has conducted a quiz in Antarctica. This is our colleague who went to Antarctica and conducted a quiz for us, for the researchers and people on expedition over there. And once we finished off with Antarctica, we were like, why don't we just go and do quizzes all over the world? And that's how we got a Limca Book of World Records for being the first company to have conducted a quiz in all the 7 continents that we know of. Yeah. So that's who we are. And why do you think we are doing this online webinar for you? How do you think we are capable enough of talking about how to teach online better? And that's because we have been engaging every Sunday. We've been engaging over 6,500 plus families in a single family quiz. We've had more than 1,000 parents and kids joining us on the call. And we've successfully engaged all these kids, and everybody has given a great feedback. And we have got a lot of learning from whatever we have done during these quizzes and during these engagements that we've had. And we are here to share our experiences with you and also get any inputs from you if needed. Yeah. So that's basically who we are. You can sign up for our family quiz. The link will be provided to you on the chat. You can also be part of a family quiz every Sunday. And we are now also organizing exclusive family quizzes for your schools specifically. To know more about that, you can get in touch with our operations team. The number will again be shared over chat by the end of this call. So before we proceed, I know that there's been a little bit of talk that's happened. Can you tell me, can you fill in the blank for me here? We are the only company which has conducted a quiz in Dash. Can you answer this question for me on the chat, please? All right, I'm getting answers from Pooja, Divya, Priyanka, Shweta. Thanks a lot, Anuradha, Nisha, Harini, Anuja. Okay. I'm looking for a single one-word answer here. Thanks a lot. That's great. I'm going to quickly pick some of you to shout out the answer out loud here. Snehalata, can you tell me what the answer is? We are the only company to conduct a quiz in. Please unmute yourself and speak.
Antarctica.
Antarctica, exactly. Yeah, so we are the only company to have conducted a quiz in Antarctica. Moving on, we are here obviously to talk about the different challenges that we face in online workshops. And one of the major challenges that we have is even in class, in a physical classroom, I'm sure most of us have seen this problem come in front of us. And that is distracted kids, right? Even when the kids are right in front of us in a physical classroom, we've had this difficulty with handling kids and keeping them engaged throughout the class. And with online, the problem has just become much worse, where they are by themselves, no parents or nobody to look upon them. So distracted kids is one challenge that you would be suffering with during these online classes that you're taking. And then there is the anxiety of online teaching. Most of us are used to be in a classroom in front of kids, doing moving around with them, talking to them personally. And there's also a lot of anxiety with the technology that is that is involved in the whole process of this, where you have to first figure out how you're going to teach kids and engage them online. And then there is this aspect of having to learn so much of technology in such a short span of time. And we totally get you over there. So we're going to discuss on how to deal with these during this call today. And then there is another problem where you do not know how to monitor your individual, the child's progress individually and understand how much they're learning through this process. In classes, it's just easy. You just give them notebooks, you give a 5-minute test to them and get the results there and there. Or there are unit tests. At home, you don't really know if the kids are actually answering because they know it or they're finding it out from somewhere. So we're going to give you some tips on how you can actually monitor your child's progress and learning while you're teaching online. So these are the different skills you'll actually need to teach online. Teaching online is a combination of 4 different aspects. One is you have to be a businessman where you need to know how to be motivational. You need to know how to build your audience, how to, you need to be an entertainer where you need to know how to be present in front of a camera. You need to have public speaking skills. Along with the teaching aspect, you need to be an expert in the subject matter itself. You need to know how to engage, manage, and also it's kind of customer service that you're doing here, where you are trying to please the kids and help them stay in the session and in the loop, right? So yeah, business, entertainment, education, and marketing, all these 4 components come together teaching online. So what you have to be in an online class is not just a teacher or a facilitator. You also need to be all of these different things. So let's deep dive into distracted kids. And like we all know, it's the case with elders also. We'd like to be more entertained than being educated. And yeah. So yeah, we need to learn how to be edutainers, and that you can do by using your voice. I know that most of us in classes are used to speaking out loud, are used to raising our voices to make sure that everybody is listening to us. But in the case of an online session, the amount at which you have to keep your voice or keep your energy levels is quite high. So keep your energy levels extremely high while in an online class. Be as loud as possible, sound as enthusiastic and energetic as possible, because that is what is going to replicate in your kids as well. So keep your energy levels high, modulate your voice. So again, the kids get to relate to when you're saying, the kids get, if you have a monotony in your voice, what happens is the kids also get distracted during the process, and to just get back their attention and to stress on the parts where you want them to hear attentively, make sure that you lower and level up your voice whenever it is needed. Use voice modulation during your classes. Avoid using fillers. So we have this general tendency of using to just fill in whenever we don't have something to say. Let's try and reduce as much of that as possible. Avoid using fillers during your classes. Pause to process. So this is something that's very, very important. When you finish talking about something, make sure that you pause, like I did with the Antarctica question. I asked a question, I waited for all of you to start a process on what you understood from the whole process. I let you give answers for a bit, and then I started talking further about it. So make sure that you give a pause in between, not very long pauses again. Make sure that your pauses are enough for them to start thinking and processing whatever you have told them. And at the same time, they're not distracting them completely. And weave stories, that's something that's extremely important. We know that kids love stories. We as kids also, when we were kids, or even now, we love to hear more in the form of stories, and that's how we understand. That's how we understand things, and that's how things get registered much more easily in our heads. So make it interesting. Whatever you are teaching them, make it interesting for them. If you're talking about a history lesson about Tipu Sultan, tell about how he fought those wars, what he did during his rule and things like that. Make a story out of it, make history interesting for them, make English stories interesting for them, make even math interesting for them by talking about what they, what was the basis of whatever formulas or equations that you are talking to about. So now that there was a lot of talk from my end, Ms. Sapna has a question where she asks why I asked you to rename yourselves. Because there is, Ms. Sapna, it's just to understand how, it's just for everybody to get introduced with everyone else. And also we have a round at the end of this session where we need you to be registered with your right names. And also so that we know once you finish a feedback poll or something like that, we know who's given what kind of response to us. Yeah. So thank you, Adiba. So that's not exactly what we're doing here. So color, which color do you want? I know that this is a very, very old game that we used to play as kids. We're going to have a very special version of color, which color do you want here? I have a color, I choose green. What I want you all to do is find something green that is close to you and hold it up in front of the camera. All right. I'm going to give you a couple of seconds time to just grab something next to you, which is green in color. So I have a water bottle here, which is green in color. Please grab something that's next to you, which is green in color, and show it in front of the camera. All right. I see there is someone holding a green notebook there. I see some Rashmi holding a pot, a green pot there. Thank you, ma'am. All right, I see a comb, I see a book, I see a cloth, I see a pen, a clip, very nice. Okay, I see a bowl, I see Amrutanjan or Iodex, yeah. I see 50-50, Mom's Magic, nice to see that you're all ready to snack during the session also. All right, thanks a lot. I see a Rubik's Cube and a cute teddy bear. Very nice. A green bottle again, a box. All right, a green fork. A toy, very nice. Okay, a sheet of paper, a plastic bag, a leaf, nice. All right, a wallet, a ball, okay. Yeah, so thanks a lot for that. So this is something that you can do in your classes also. I can see some hands are raised. Ms. Meher, Bidisha, Rajashri, is there something that you wanted to share? All right. So yeah, thanks a lot for that. It was great to see you guys participative over there. So yes, so why are we doing this here is just to soothe up, to get you relaxed and get to the mood of the session right here. So these are some things that you can do in your class also to keep your kids engaged. So just have these very small things that they can do within a few seconds so that they kind of get back to the space that they're in and they're not just lost in the monotony of things, right? So yes, energizers are the way to go. So such small activities that you can do in class are going to go a long way in keeping your kids engaged during the entire session. And how do energizers help? We saw how it helped here. It adds color to an otherwise boring session. Just me talking all the time and you not being, I'm sure that you're not going to be able to get all your kids, 30 or 40 kids to talk on the call during one single session. So what are the other different ways that you can add color to otherwise a boring session that you have? By using energizers, by breaking the monotony. So we're talking about one single thing for a long time and we're getting bored listening to the same thing over and over again. So it breaks the monotony, helps us think out of the box. It helps us take our mind off from whatever we are doing. And it helps us to focus more during the rest of the session. It improves collaboration. So there are multiple collaborative energizers also that you can use, where one person in the group starts off with something. We'll be doing a few of them later in the session also. It helps to improve collaboration. It helps all your students to feel more connected when they are there on the call here. And what else it does is, it is a fun way to recap. So remember the first check-in question that we did in the beginning of the session, and then I talked about an Antarctica question. So if you saw, actually it was a way in which I did a recap of whatever we covered during that first part of the session, right? So there are fun ways of energizers that you can use to just recap on some of the topics that you've had. And again, engaging the students and increasing the energy within, that's the basic thing that we're looking at, right? In an online class, we want the kids to be engaged. We want them to have high energy. We want them to be interested in the whole session as such. And that's how energizers help you. So here are some energizers that you can use. Some of them we've already used during the call in the last 15 to 20 minutes. So start off your day, start off your session, start off your class with a check-in question, so that everybody gets to know who is there around, and everybody knows how to participate during the session. So just for everybody to get used to the other people on the call, start with a check-in question. It can be something really quirky, where you say, which animal do you relate to and why? They can just type it out in the chat and send it across to you. Or you can just say, look around you and which object do you relate to more and why? So these are some very simple check-in questions that you can use as energizers or as starters for your classes. Apart from that, you can use recap questions which have not very big answers, just one-word answers, something like the Antarctica question that we did. Just flip the card, ask a question, put it up in front of everybody, and get them to answer on the chat. Again, a very fun way to get them to recap. Keeps them on their toes to make sure that they listen and pay attention to everything that's happening during the session. So ask recap questions which have one-word answers. Word association is a very, very fun way to actually get everybody to collaborate with each other, and also a very interesting way on how you can recap. We'll talk a little bit more in the next few slides about word association here. Touch blue is something that we did with color, which color do you want here, which is an object, find an object which matches any particular attributes. Here I just chose a color green. So in your classes, you can ask them to find any object around them, give a specific attribute that they have to look for. And you can say something that you can find in your pencil box, something that you can see at the window or something like that, and ask them to find an object and show it in front of the cameras. This is again a very interesting way where you can get everybody to turn on their cameras. Kids are sometimes not very comfortable with turning on cameras and showing their faces, but it's always a good practice to look at your kids when you're talking to them. So yeah, make sure that you do something like this to get them feel more involved in the class. Shakedown again is an activity that we're going to do sometime a little later, and I'll explain about it at that point. What are you doing is again another very interesting activity that you can introduce for the kids, where you just mime an action and ask them to guess. You can start off by doing it and ask one of your kids to do it and get it running in a cyclic manner. This is again a very interesting activity that you can do for primary and pre-primary kids also, where you just get them to loosen up. Again, another recap where you can teach them how to do verbs and nouns and things like that. So yeah, what are you doing is another activity, that energizer that you can use in your classes. Finally, coming to MasterChef, here I'm using something like a dish to guess the ingredients. In your case, you can again use any concept that you are talking about. For example, if I'm teaching science, if I'm teaching photosynthesis, I'll just show a plant and I'll say, what are the different things that go into the process where the plant makes its own food. And kids get to guess what are the different things that are needed, what are the different resources that are needed for a plant to go through the photosynthesis process. So these are some things that you can tweak according to your, they are fun energizers also for the kids. And in a way, they're also learning something out of this whole process. All right, so I see a couple of hands are raised. If you have any doubts, please post it on the chat and we will address them a bit later during the call. So that was about energizers. I hope you got something to learn from there. And finally, try to use as much audio-visual content as possible. Kids, learning is again something that happens we know that kinesthetic, there are different kinds of learning, and audio-visual learning is something that we can achieve by doing online classes also. By doing online classes also. So yeah, you can use audio-visual content. If you have any content that you are using, just make sure that you put it up on a slideshow, have some interesting pictures, videos that they can see during the class. The next point that we're going to talk about is anxiety. So like I told in the beginning, we know that we're all anxious, and it's very natural to be anxious about this whole shift that's been happening from a physical classroom onto a virtual classroom here. What are some things that are on your mind when you think about online classes? I would like to ask some of you to give me responses, post which I will move on to the next slide. Can I have Uma Mahesh tell about one thing that worries you about online class, online teaching, ma'am? All right. Yes, Ms. Priyanka, yes. I don't think Uma Mahesh is available on the call right now. Disturbed children, I see Ms. Adiba talking about disturbed children. So distracted children, like I mentioned, okay, all right. So yes, distracted children, again, I know that is a major problem. Do try out the different energizers and different techniques that we talked about during the class. Try to use your voice, be high on the energy, and yeah, so be as, you know, involved in the whole process. Get your kids to get involved in the process by using these very simple, small energizers that you have. Yeah, and if your children are quite eager, we will talk about all this in the next few slides. Yeah, so Jemima says there is a problem where you don't know if really your concept is reaching the kids or not. So what you can do in that place is you can just think about different small assessments that you can do during the class itself, quick checks for understanding that you can do using some of these energizers itself, where you just use a flip card kind of question, where you just try different recap techniques like I showed you here, where you ask for one-word answers on the chat and things like that. Yeah, technology I see is a major issue. We will be talking about that in a bit now. Yeah. All right, so we are going to try and address a few of your problems here. If we're not able to address all of them here itself, we're going to try and address as many of them as possible here. For the rest of them, we are going to have another session of webinar that happens where we can answer a few more questions. 1 hour is really not enough time to cover everything that we want to cover. So yes, again, like most of you said, self-preparedness, right? I'll forget what I have to say. I'm just talking so much, and suddenly I forget what I have to say, and the kids might mock me, might laugh at me, or things like that. Can't start class till everyone's here. So this is one problem where, like you saw in the beginning, I also was waiting for everybody to join on the call, and until then I try to keep you all engaged by some means or the other. suddenly there is a technical issue where you just can't share your screen while you have some very interesting content to share with your kids. What do you do in that case? What if my screen hangs suddenly? So you're talking suddenly and there is a power cut, or there is just something that's happened with your laptop or with your screen over there, and it suddenly hangs and your kids don't know what to do. The kids can't hear me. So many kids are talking, whom do I address? So kids are always eager, even in class, they're like, ma'am, 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 ma'am. So how do I do that? In a physical classroom, it's still okay to go to the kid, check what they want and get back with them immediately. But in an online space, it's a bit difficult where you don't know whom to address, if you have to continue talking or you have to address the person. So what do you do in those cases? And there is again, there's a sudden power cut. I don't know what to do over there, right? So we're going to do another small activity here before we talk about the whole anxiety part, because I think by looking at just the questions, you must have been completely anxious and you feel like all your points have been put out there. So what comes to your mind? We're going to do a small word association. Like I said, a small word association game here. I'm going to say a word. I'm going to pick one of you on the call. And I'm going to ask you, what word can you think of when I say fruit? Okay. Let me pick a person here. I choose Malini Neelakantan. Ma'am, can you tell me one word that comes to your mind when I say fruit? Miss Malini Neelakantan. Miss Malini, can you hear me? Okay, so I'm getting answers on the chat. So I'm just going to pick one in random. So I get an answer saying mango, because yes, it is summer. And yeah, I can think of fruits and I think of mango. But the first fruit that came to my mind when I thought about fruit was apple. So can you also tell me what you think of when I say apple? Can you think of a word that comes to your mind when I say apple? Healthy, red, Newton, very nice. Red, gravity, colorful, winter, very nice. Thanks a lot for that. What comes to my mind when I talk about apple is an apple pie. Okay? So when I say pie, what is the word that comes to your mind? Sweet, yes. Pie chart, yes. Milkshake, okay. Dessert, very nice, 3.14. Choco pie, shepherd's pie, a lot of varieties of pie, McDonald's pie, an iPhone, okay, very nice. So yes, we are talking about the Android. So one thing that comes to my mind when I think about Pi is the Android version of Pi. So when I say Android, what comes to your mind? Phone, yes. Hooked on, yes. An OS, yes. A mobile phone, user-friendly, Samsung, game, software, all right. A version, okay. A smartphone, apps, okay. Redmi, yeah, different varieties of phones that use Android. Nokia, WhatsApp, smartphone, operating system, a necessity. Yes, it's quite a necessity right now. So when I talk about Android, I think about the company that started off the Android, which is Google. So when I say Google, what can you think of? Sundar Pichai, very nice. The Google Office, Google Search, the search, a classroom, yes, the Google Classroom, the search engine where you get a lot of information, the information hub, the mother to all answers, the Google Meet, right? A search engine. So when I think of Google, I think of the most common thing that I used when I went to work, which is the Google Maps, right? So you can see how a simple word like fruit can actually get associated with something quite unrelated to it, which is the maps, right? So this is one word association technique that you can use in classes, where you just talk about one word. For example, you're thinking about a topic in social science where you're telling what can you think of when you think of Tipu Sultan, and then they start talking about rockets. Then when it comes to rockets, might be they start talking about the Mangalyaan. So it brings out a lot of innovation, a lot of creativity among the kids, where they can think out of the box. You can also summarize or do a recap by talking about these different words and get them to associate it with the topics that they're learning in class as well. So word association, a very nice energizer that you very much loved by kids, and also a fun way for you to recap and do a quick session on certain topics. So that was word association. Thanks everyone for participating during the session. So now coming back to anxiety, we've been there, you've been there, and you might be there for a while now, and we're all learning over here. So remember that don't panic before you start off a class. Make sure that you're completely hydrated, because like you can see, you need a lot of voice that you use, and there's a lot of energy that you need to spend in the online space itself. So keep calm and stay hydrated. Do not panic while you're taking online classes. Here are some things with the technology front. Like, I had a lot of doubts when said there are a lot of kids that are asking questions. I'm not able to answer all of them. What do I do if there is a technical issue that I'm facing? Here are a few hygiene checks, a very quick hygiene checks that you can do before you start off with your call. Start the call at least 15 minutes before the class begins. So this is something that we observe during every session of ours, where we always start a session at least 15 minutes. We log into the session, we have all the participants to come in and settle in for the class. So start the class at least 15 minutes before it starts, and check for the audio and video functions. Make sure we weren't able to do this today because of the number of participants that are there. But in a class of 30 to 40, I think it should be easy to do it. So check the audio and video. If not for your students, at least from your end, make sure that you check your speakers and mic if they're working fine. And yeah, so Shripriya has a very, very valid point that she has here, where she says, start co-hosting initially for the first few sessions. Like you see, I have my colleague Vaishnavi and one more colleague of mine, Anaga, who's also joined on the call with us. So I do take their support once in a while, like you saw in the beginning when a lot of you had a problem with renaming yourself. I asked my colleague Vaishnavi to take over. So until you get used to the whole technical aspect of it, have one more teacher on the call with you so that they can take over in case of any issues that you might face. Yeah, so yeah, the child usually comes only during the peak period. We will talk about what you can do about that also. So yeah, so if you have a presentation, if you have something like a presentation about audiovisual content that you want to run during the call, make sure you have backup. If that presentation does not run for some reason, or you're not able to present it in the way that you wanted, make sure you always have some kind of backup content with you, which you can make the kids do. It necessarily doesn't have to do something to do with the topic that you're discussing, but just something that they have to do while you're setting up or getting the presentation ready for the class. So some small activity or energizer that you can use for them to keeping them engaged during the class. Arrange for backup internet. There might be a power cut, there might be sudden fluctuation in the internet that you're using at home, and you don't want that to disrupt the class as such. So whenever you start off with the class, keep your mobile phone next to you, keep the hotspot on the phone, and immediately switch on to it whenever you think that there is going to be a power cut or a disruption in your internet connection. Keep the attendance list handy. So make sure that you know how many kids are going to join the class. I'm sure you already have your attendance list with you, you know which students are going to be in your classes, but it's always good to have the attendance list in hand, and in the beginning, while you're doing the introduction, while you're doing a check-in question, you can quickly mark your attendance and know how many kids are there and how well you have to be prepared for the class as well. Be prepared for any tech issues that you might face. So we're going to talk about a few things that we can do to tackle with tech issues a bit later. For now, what we can do during the call, a few hygiene checks that you can do during the call is you can set expectations at the beginning of the call itself. So this is one way of dealing with your technical issues also, where you just set expectations in the beginning of the call. One thing that I would strongly say is mute all the participants that are there in the call and unmute them only when there is an emergency. Mute all your participants, and only when you want them to talk, only when you're directing questions towards them, make sure that you are unmuting them and letting them talk, and mute them again, right? So yeah, so set expectations during the class, and also tell them what they have to do when there is any certain technical issue. For example, when you know that if you feel that your screen is going to hang, or just lay down the rules for what might happen in the worst case scenario, and tell them what the kids can expect if something like that happens. For example, your screen suddenly freezes, but you're still able to send a chat to them. You can still say that if the screen freezes in between, don't panic. I'm going to send a chat on, I'm going to keep communicating with you on chat. I'm going to give you some activity during that time while I fix it, right? Or one of the kids is not able to hear you properly. You can tell them, if you're not able to hear me properly, make sure that you've checked your mic and speakers, and just re-log in onto the call to make sure that there is no bug that is happening on the app as such that you're using. So these are some things that you can set guidelines in the beginning of the class itself, so that you think of all the expected troubles that you might have during the call, and think of solutions to that before the call itself. If there is still something that happens during the call, just one thing is that the kids can still, you can still share material with them offline as a mail or as a recording to them. So do not worry, and do not let that bring on the anxiety in you and ruin the rest of the session for you. Yeah. So set expectations, tell them this is what might go wrong, and this is what we're going to do if something like that happens. If it still doesn't work, you can still get in touch with the kid later and understand what the situation was. So yeah, set expectations, mute all the participants, like I said, unmute them only when it is absolutely necessary. All doubts need to be posted on the chat, and answers will be provided at the end. So make sure you ask the kids to do this specifically, where they can post in their doubts on the chat, and make sure that you go through the list at the end of the session and get back to them with those answers. If you're still not able to do it, you can just say that I'm going to go through your queries, and I'm going to separately send these out as a mail to you, or as a separate text message to you, which is something that I will be doing also during this call today, because there are a lot of queries that are coming in on the chat, and I do not want that to disrupt the entire session that's happening here. So we do have a record of what queries you've been asking, what doubts you've been asking until now. We are going to answer all these questions. Might not be able to do that during this call itself. We will be getting back to you on the WhatsApp group that we've set up later during the next few days. Yeah. So allow the raise hand option to ask questions. I'm sure raise hand is something that is available on Zoom, and this is some feature that has been added on to MS Teams also. Make the kids aware about this raise hand option that is available, and ask them to use it if they have to ask something very, very urgent. Use a very simple feedback mechanism at the end of every class. So this is one question that I saw on the chat also. How do we know if the kids have actually understood or the content has actually reached the kids or not, right? So this is one mechanism that you can use. You just ask them, how was the session today? And ask them to reply in a smiley or something like that. Ask them to use a symbol to say, give a thumbs up if you've understood, give a thumbs down if you did not understand, or just take these very simple feedback. Was I too fast during the call, or was I too slow during the call? So these are some very, very basic feedback mechanisms that you can use at the end of every class. Get a feedback, get a general sense of what the kids felt. These are some questions that you can include in your class as well. And keep a track of time. So we do lose track of time while we are interacting with a huge crowd. So time box everything that you're going to do during the session, and make sure that you stick to it as much as possible. Yeah, so there are a few kids who joined quite early during the session, and there are a few kids who just joined in the last minute. This is one question also that I saw on the chat, where you say kids join only at the last minute and you don't know how to accommodate all of them together, right? So when you have to kill this time, so what you can do as an incentive for the kids who join early is you just give them something like this to work on. This is a very small puzzle, very easy puzzle that they can solve. Tell them if you join early, you will see something like this on your screen. You will get some fun time to work with all your friends, and we'll see who does it first. So if you see this, this is actually a maze that was created for kids to remember ABCD until Z. So this is one very interactive way of teaching them ABCD. Again, a recap session that you can use for primary, pre-primary kids. And also for the elder ones, you can still have some audiovisual content available, run it on loop at the beginning of the call until everybody joins, and tell them that at the end of the session, I'm going to ask some questions based on whatever you saw in the beginning of 5-10 minutes. So just the fear of missing out is something that can bring them in the class. So have something like this handy with you for at the beginning of every class, where you just start off a call 15 minutes early. Tell them that you'll get a special surprise at the beginning of the call. Or if you're just running some content in the beginning of the class, just say that there's something for you to look forward to at the end of the class. Ask an open-ended question in the beginning and tell them that you will find the answer only at the end of the class. These are some ways that you can keep the kids engaged when they join early, or also motivate them to join much early during the class. So tech issues, I think I did try to address a few of them, where I said if you can think of any particular tech issues that you might face, think of call to actions that you will be doing. Yeah. So think of what you want the kids to do, what you want to do, set expectations at the beginning of the class itself, and get back with your tech team at school or your organization to identify how you can solve these particular technical issues later. Don't let that affect how you are running your class. So that's basically what I had. So it's time to shake down. We did see an energizer at the beginning of the session, right? Shakedown was one energizer that we haven't used yet. So it's time to shake down. What we're going to do here is, if it's possible, please turn on all your cameras. We're going to do a very fun activity over here. So what we're going to do is like this. So 5 times you're going to do this. Wink your right eye. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I know winking is not something that comes naturally to me. So just let's wink 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then lift your left arm 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. Next, we are going to nod our head for 5 times. Let's start doing that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now we're going to clap twice. All right. I can see some of you doing that. Okay. All right. Okay. So, and both hands up in the air, and we're done. All right. So for those who aren't ready, let's try this out one more time. All right. First thing we're going to do, wink 5 times. If you're not able to do that, just blink your eyes 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And lift your left arm. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nod your head. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Clap twice. And hands up in the air, and we're done. Okay. So this is again to just sitting for quite a while now, and we just need some stretching that needs to happen. Also, again, it breaks the monotony of just one person talking and the others just listening for a very long time. So shakedown is something that you can just get everybody physically up and doing for whatever you need them to do. So we at QShala, we do share some interesting facts on our YouTube channel also. Again, this link will be something that will be shared on the chat with you at the end of the session. I'll let my colleague Vaishnavi take over from this point. We are going to talk about how you can monitor your child's progress using the platform Kahoot.
Yeah, hey everyone, my name is Vaishnavi. So thank you, Shilpa. So we realize one of the biggest problem that we face is we have 45 kids or 80 kids, and we have to monitor all of their progress to find out what are the weaknesses, what are the strengths, right? So for this, we will be using a platform called Kahoot. So let's go to the next slide. Okay, just a second. Yeah, so for this, I require all of you to have 2 devices. One device on which the Zoom call is happening already, another device for which on which you can participate in the Kahoot quiz. So we're going to learn by experience. So give me a thumbs up if you have another device with you. It can be a mobile, it can be another laptop. So take another device and give me a thumbs up when you're ready. And let's go to the next slide. Okay, so what exactly is Kahoot? So Kahoot is a platform which gives you the experience of Kaun Banega Crorepati, fastest spinning quiz, where you can ensure that the children have a better understanding of the concepts that you are teaching. So let's go on. Yeah, so there are different forms of questions that you can include in Kahoot. So it can be an MCQ question where you can figure out the answers, you can give them options, or we also have the next type. So you can also add puzzles. So there are quite a few teachers teachers teaching mathematics who said, how do I make maths interesting for kids? Right, and there are history teachers here. How do I ensure that the kids get the order, the chronological order right? So you can probably use a puzzle for this. Okay, so let's see the other formats that we have on Kahoot. Okay, so you have a slide. So in case after a question you wanted to bring about some tidbit of information, you can also include a slide. Okay, apart from slide, you can also include images and videos as part of the question, and we will see how we can do this. Okay, next. You can also include true or false, just to see if your kids are confused with a particular concept. Okay, moving on. You can also take a poll. So like Shilpa mentioned, it's very crucial to have to get feedback from the children about how they felt the workshop was. So you can conduct the poll on Kahoot. Okay, moving on. Okay, so some of the other things that we can also do as part of Kahoot is question bank. So you can upload multiple questions at a time, and we'll see how to conduct a quiz and leverage the data from Kahoot. You can also create homework questions or challenge for children on Kahoot, and you can give them a time frame by when they have to finish. It can also be used for revision before exams. So more on Kahoot and in depth in another webinar. So with this, let's go to the next slide.